Jay here for Stretford, Paddock.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, mate. Okay, that might be the record that you butted in after about 0.5 seconds. This is the huge debate. That is Stephen Howson. That is Adam McKola. And today we're looking at how United's transfers have affected us this season, whether that's the signings we've made, the signings we should have made, or the signings we haven't made, which is kind of the signings we should have made.
Let's have a look at what we could have won.
Come and have a look at what you could have won. We know we've brought in some players. We know there was players we were linked with that we didn't get.
No.
So
and the Premier League.
You may have heard one.
Unusual.
What was it? Jason Sanchez or something? I'm not really sure. So
Jason Singh plays down the road from me.
Exactly.
But British Asians are held back, so you know.
Are we really going down this road? Is this what we're going to make this about? That might be a separate debate. Let's try and focus just for now. Yeah, on the United transfers.
Debate? You're going to get someone to sit on the other side of that? I don't think so.
The BBC would.
Yeah, there's always, in the interest of
racism.
Impartiality.
Is it wrong? All right.
It is a racist.
Yeah, so what we're talking about, yeah? Transfers. I was going to start with you, but you're drinking, so I'll start with you.
All right.
United's transfers. We'll start with the players we got in. Do you rate them?
You can't really say yet. You haven't seen enough of them.
Right, that's a good point.
Ultimately, this echoes very much Jose's last summer when Jose flipped tables, called people see you next Tuesdays, wasn't happy. Proper saw his ass over lack of transfer activity for various reasons, and some of it valid, some of it maybe not so much. But what he got was third choice goalkeeper.
Lee Grant.
He got a backup midfielder who's actually proven his worth a little bit this season.
Past the Fred.
But he wasn't a first choice at the time, and arguably hasn't really been first choice in much of his time at United. And he got a 19-year-old Willie or won't he fullback who was not first choice.
Diogo Dalot.
He said 19-year-old Willie in that.
And the summer that we've just had, you've got currently, whether or not you think this is the case, but currently he is a second choice midfielder in Van der Beek.
Yep.
Now, you might grow into something, but currently he ain't the first choice midfielder. He's had Tellers who we've not seen, who I think probably is going to be a first choice player, and then a backup striker.
Yeah, we've also got Pellistri and Diallo.
Halfway though.
I know he's not here yet, but we've got them.
We have got Pellistri.
Signings.
He's a real thing.
Yeah.
Gary Pellistri is actually there.
Yeah.
Whether he'll play or not, I'm not too sure. Still wearing tights in training.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mate, you come from Uruguay
I don't know though.
to Carrington.
Yeah.
What I would say though is I agree with Steve, but half. Like, I don't think it's comparable to Jose's last summer in the signings we made, because I think the summer is actually better than that one.
Yeah.
Like, Tellez is better signing than Diogo Dalot in that it improves the first 11.
better
Cavani's a better signing than Lee Grant, and Van der Beek's a better signing than Fred, or as good a signing than Fred if you want. So I think it is better and it improves the squad a lot more than that summer did. But I still think they've done him over in the sense that squad Jose had, we never actually let loads of players leave. Like, Oli actually has let a fair few players leave over the last 2 years.
Summers, but also the previous summer to that, Jose brought in Mkhitaryan, Bailly, Paul Pogba, remember him, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Oli's never had a summer like that.
Yeah, I agree with that
And
as well.
Sanchez as well.
No, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't directly compare it to, because I think the signings are a bit better here, and I think that's what the frustrating thing is. And I'm glad you said, what do you think about the signings we've made first, rather than the signings we didn't make?
Yeah.
Because I think it'd be
Signings we
disrespectful.
didn't make were great.
Yeah, I think it'd be
Amazing.
disrespectful to
Really
overlook
playing
Edinson Cavani as a signing. If we bring him in June, when PSG still want him to play in their final against Bayern Munich, and I think if you bring him in then, there's a whole different narrative around the signing. I think because of the way we made it, it looks like a bad signing. It looks like a panic signing. It probably is. But that doesn't change the fact that it improves your squad. It gives you a number 9 that can keep Anthony Martial on his toes, give him competition for his spot, and also someone that can come off the bench. I love Adrian Igalo, but I'd rather see Edinson Cavani coming off.
Yeah.
And I'm sure...
Isn't that dude missing as well, by the way?
Igalo.
Yeah.
I mean, it just baffled me why we extended it till January, being brutal.
I get it, because it's he's happy to be there, and you get that backup in case shit happens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's an insurance policy, that is, to me. But like with Cavani, improves the squad, and at times I think in certain games you could improve your first 11 depending on how you want to play. Van der Beek, we've all been crying out for this depth in the squad, and he's someone that provides us that in 2 positions, maybe in the 8 and the 10 position,
And
maybe
6.
a 6 if he can get more minutes there in the Premier League. I'd like to see him there more. So I think his quality, and Alex Telles, like, I've seen 1 game of him and I already know he's got something that we need in that delivery into the box.
100%.
I know Luke Shaw's got a couple of assists in recent weeks, but a broken clock's right twice or something like that. Innit?
Twice a day.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the
yeah.
one. Is right twice a week, and he got 2 assists, which was great, but we need competition there, and he's out now for 6 weeks, which is a trait in him. So I do think the signings that we've made have been good and have improved the squad. If they come in 6 weeks earlier, I genuinely think we go bouncing into the season a little bit differently. As for Ahmad Traore and Facundo Pellistri, genuinely, I can't say that's a bad signing. I can't say that's a good signing because I genuinely don't know.
We'll get to the players we didn't sign in a minute. I just want to talk briefly about Van der Beek. You mentioned him there. There's been people crying out for him to start, especially after he's just recently had a goal-scoring game for Holland. He hasn't
Second in a row.
He hasn't had many chances so far. He's had a few, especially when you look at the form of other midfielders as well. Are you surprised that we haven't used more of him? Does that worry you at all? Because some people are already losing their minds, going, why is he not playing, or why did we buy him? Oh, they didn't want him, and all this nonsense.
I think
what do you
Ollie's
make of it?
learned a lesson and maybe being a touch overcautious with bringing... he got panned for bringing Pogba back too fast. So now he's not bringing players back in too fast, he's getting panned. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of scenario. Some players, like when Bruno was signed, he was ready to go rock and roll. Boom, played every minute of every game. Like Max said in our last video, Donny van der Beek's not really played since March. So to fling him in at Premier League intensity, and there was the one game he started. I think he died about 55 minutes in, and he just
Was it Leipzig?
I can't remember which one it was, but I remember going, this is why he's not started. He ain't fit. So giving him 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and maybe he should have had a bit more of that. And I don't know how many games he's playing behind closed doors, because United play 2 usually when it's not 2 games a week, but United play 1 or 2 training games a week, full 90 minutes with referees and linesmen and all sorts. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, and that what did for Sanchez when it was like he played behind closed doors and was dreadful against like Bolton's Revs or something. And
so
like,
United do that all the time. You'll see Morecambe and randoms just turning up at the training ground to go and play full 90 minutes on like a Tuesday at 11 o'clock. That happens all the time. So he's probably playing him in them, and Ollie's probably going, he's dead after an hour. So he's probably getting a lot of his minutes that he needs to get in those games. And I do expect that he'll play a lot more as the season develops and as his fitness improves. And I think it's going to be a long season, undoubtedly. I've been trying to get some info on this, because there's a lot of different schools of thought when it comes to preparing players for the season. Jose Mourinho had a different tactic to Sir Alex Ferguson. Sir Alex Ferguson wanted them to be just fit enough to start the season, and then they would constantly work on fitness till around about January or so. And then it was no coincidence United looked fresher and fitter and always finished the season strong. Ferguson wanted to be a point or 2 off the top for Christmas, and I'll see you in the new year later. Jose, when he first came to England, wanted it to all be about, I want these players absolutely hammering down on the door. And if you look at the start he made with Chelsea, them 2 seasons where they smashed the league, that was because they went bosh and built up this unstoppable lead, and then they found it a little bit easier. And I wonder, is there a blend that you could do? Can the new signings be smashed a little bit in pre-season and be ready earlier? And then some of the players that took it further in the season, that played the minutes at the end of the season, can we maybe take it easy with them and scope them in? And I'd love to speak to someone at the club to see, is there tapered training programs depending on where they are as a player, or is it almost like military? We're all running together. This is what we're doing. You've all got to go, at the same sort of tempo. It'd be interesting to see what they're doing in terms of programming for the different players, and are they trying to manage the different players, and is that playing a part in team selection at the same time? Because I think it'd be really interesting to find out.
We seem to have gotten over that problem we had with so many players getting injured in training anyway, because there was a time, especially under Van Gaal, when everyone was...
Phil Jones hasn't been training.
I'm really worried
and
about
Smalling's
that.
not here.
Exactly.
Coincidence.
We've spoken about the players
if
we
Phil
did
Jones
get.
ain't training, what is he doing?
I don't know. Do we need
Picking
to
up
worry
that
about
shit.
Phil Jones? He's staying out of the way. Just leave him alone. We know the players we did get. We were linked with Erling Haaland, more or less last January, I think more that was.
We're linked with Dortmund.
We're linked with Dortmund, yeah. We're linked with Dortmund. We're linked with your mate, Jack Grealish. We're linked with Partey. We're linked with Upamecano, other players as well. We didn't really get our first choices, it seems. Whose fault is that, Macca? Is that the board? Does Ollie have to take some responsibility?
No.
Who are you blaming for that?
I think you'd have to be an idiot to blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the transfer signings we did
Some
make.
people that will.
Because I think you're being stupid. That would mean you blame Jose for Fred Delo.
Yeah, I know.
And
But
I
you see,
think
though,
that
you see,
can't
the
happen.
sort of the argument I've seen on social media, and social media is never wrong, is that some people say, well, Ollie can't attract the top players.
Lampard can't attract the top players. The money bird does it. I mean, David Moyes brought in Juan Mata. You think Juan Mata wants to play for David Moyes?
No
He wants
player
to play for
signs for a
Manchester United.
club in the modern era, especially when they sign a 5-year deal, thinking that the guy that's signing it and on this picture with me now is going to be here at the end of that, because they never
They probably
are.
a lot of players probably sign thinking, you'll be gone soon. I won't.
I think the club signs more players than any manager.
There will be some managers, though, that would put players off. I've heard this, that certain players don't want to play for a manager.
Well, didn't Ibrahimovic not want to play for Van Gaal?
There was one that a certain
Pep,
Scottish footballer told me, ex-footballer, told me that a player that we wanted said he didn't want to play for Van Gaal. And then when we reapproached him, he said he didn't want to play for Jose either.
Which player?
I know who
sure.
you're on about, but which player was it?
I'm not sure who it was. I think it might have been a striker that ended up going to Arsenal.
Sounds like
It might have been, but I'm not sure on that. But that's what my point is.
Dodged a fucking bullet with that anyway.
Some players don't want to play for certain managers. So would you say that is a factor in this, or do you think that's nonsense? It's just the money factor.
I think obviously you'd be daft to think some players don't think, actually, I'm not going to go there. But my general point being, Manchester United will attract players.
Yeah.
Like, it's not always down to the manager to do that. And then even if a manager wants a player, it's down to the board to be able to go and get it. Matt Judge, Ed Woodward. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't delivering the bids and making the negotiations and doing all this. So you can't blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the players that do come through the door. The summer was a failure in that we didn't capitalise on the momentum we built up last season. We didn't take that into this season, and we didn't get the players that we needed. Everyone knew 3 or 4 signings this summer that improve your first 11, means your bench improves as a knock-on effect because those players drop down. And we never went out and did that. You look over...
We arguably didn't improve the first 11.
I think
That's
Alex
a good
Telles
question.
possibly
Is it?
does.
But he's played one
but
game.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Maybe Telles,
we
but
haven't
that's
because
it, innit?
for Donny van der Beek, for me, I know Pogba's out of form at the moment. He's not better than Pogba or Bruno.
I agree.
Cavani in his prime is probably starting every single week, but 33 years old, he's not. No. So I get what you're saying, but nevertheless, the signing was the summer was a failure, and that was down to the board, and that's why. How much of an effect did that have on? I've joked before about players coming in and saying, "What's Phil Jones still doing here?" But it's true. It's like, what the fuck? Imagine, we do it with Cam. We do it with Cam. We come in and think, what the fuck's he still doing here? Do you know what I mean?
There must be players like Telles come in and go, who's he?
Right. Obviously,
does he play for us?
You look at that though, and you're mentioning some of the players. We mentioned the players we didn't get, the players we brought in. What about the players we've got rid of? We loaned out or sold the likes of Delo, the likes of Pereira. Romero's not gone, which is a bit of a weird one because everyone thought he would. Yeah, Phil Jones has gone. I think that was down to injuries. Do you think, in terms of our turnover and getting rid of the players that we need to get rid of and getting the players in we have, has that been good?
His wife was happy when he was sat on the bench last year, but this year,
Romero,
they made the decision that they wanted to go, and to be fair, she's got a point. He said, you've asked us to sit on the bench and we've done it. Now we want to go. Let us do it.
But you're not going to go for free.
Why? We got him for free.
Fuck it.
I think there was an issue, wasn't there? Everton wanted him, and maybe there's question marks about, is that going to improve them?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Over T-Rex
you can have a
arms.
scenario.
Jesus, you imagine that game wouldn't have gone down the same.
No, this is what I'm saying. There's a scenario where United finished 5th and Everton finished 4th, and Romero helps them. Do you know what I mean? Which would be a disaster. If you could sign one player in January, looking ahead already, because this is what we do with transfers. I know the summer's not that long ago, but if you look into January, you've got one player. Matt George rings you and he says, "Macca."
I'll tell him, fuck off.
After you've told him to fuck off and hung up, he rings you back and says, "Please, just help me out, mate. Come on. Don't be like that."
I'm doing a save on Footy Manager.
Yeah. Who should we buy, bro?
I'd probably... What we need... See, this could change because if Axel has a good few months...
Axel.
And, you're looking at it and you think...
Definitely in him.
It's 100%. Then I'd probably be different about this. The reason I wouldn't say Jack Grealish or Jadon Sancho at this point is because I think those are summer signings, if they even happen anymore. I'd go in early for Dale Upamecano because you can still play players twice in the Champions League, innit?
I think so. He's got his buyout clause kicks in, done it in the summer, I think, but you can still get him. He's not ungettable.
If someone's buyout clause is 45 million,
yeah,
why not in January go? He's 55 million. I know we won't do it, but you're asking what I would do.
Well, we bought Tellers.
Sounds a bit like ambition. Sorry.
Yeah, and a bit of a strategy. We did it with Tellers, didn't we? We bought him rather than waiting for his contract to run out because we wanted him.
We waited until 2 days before the window shut and poor old Paddock
played a bit of brinkmanship there. Do you know what?
Would you love to play poker with United?
Yeah, it'd be
such an easy game, isn't it?
Mate, I wouldn't trust United playing Snap.
At poker.
Go on, if you could bring in anyone in January, who would you bring in?
Sal Niguez.
Oh, here we go.
What?
Why? Even though I've heard this about 812 times.
Because at the moment,
Give it me again.
Matic is kind of the glue that holds this team together, and he's 109 years old. And
the rest.
And he ain't been able to play twice a week. And guess what? We're playing a lot of twice a week games. Having someone that's
He's right.
Having someone that's got quality on the ball. Can I
click that. I don't think I've ever heard that in the 7 years I've been doing this with you.
Someone that's got quality on the ball. Basically, Sal Niguez is what Ander Herrera thought he could be. He was like turboed up Herrera in every single aspect.
Ander Herrera, we actually miss him,
Exactly. So get the better version of him.
I mean, in terms of a holding midfielder, I think...
Look, and he's not really a holding midfielder. He does both.
Oh, I mean, someone naturally in that position who can cover, get back, do all that. I think it's... At the moment, I think Ollie's gone with Fred and McTominay to just protect everything. Once you get someone that's supreme like that can hold that position down, you don't need someone holding their hand in there. Your Pogbas and your Brunos and your Van der Beeks, or even your Fred, if you want to play them a bit more advanced, they've got so much more freedom. At the moment, we know Pogba's not in great form at the moment for club or country. That could down to fitness, COVID, just poor form, whatever. But we know when he's on the edge of his own box in a 2, it doesn't look great.
No.
Being able to get him further up the field, Sal Niguez allows you to do that. At the moment, we're having to play 2,
Pogba,
and
Bruno.
No one's getting ahead of Bruno. You get me? Because
name me a better 3 in midfield in the world. A better midfield 3 than Saul, Pogba, and Bruno.
And then you got McTominay, Fred, and Donny that can come in.
3.
And they're good players to come in as well. You know, like as a squad, as players you bring in.
So you get like Bristol in the FA Cup. That's your midfield 3. They get a night off.
Do you know what I mean? No one's
and then
moaning.
They're better at the weekend for the Liverpool game even.
Right. I just want to ask you one final quick question then about January. Do we need to make a signing in January after the summer we've had?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
We need to make... I don't want to see us just make a signing because, let's make a signing.
No, but
I want it to be part of the...
challenging for the team.
We should be.
Yeah, I mean, you might get Sancho.
Yeah.
Because like Sancho's apparently royally spat his dummy out at Dortmund, which he is prone to do. Got a little bit of a diva attitude about him.
Like
maybe you box off everybody in January and bring him in.
Well, you mentioned like Fergie trying to stay in the race until January and then pushing on. Look at the impact Bruno had last year. If you stay 6 points within the top spot,
yeah.
And then bring
we were dead as well.
Goals.
We were done when Bruno came in, weren't we? Remember after that Burnley game,
Liverpool.
It was over, and Bruno gave us such an amazing run that we actually managed to finish.
Or Erling Haaland.
Haaland, Sancho, who knows?
I think Haaland will be one further down the line.
If you them 4, right? Let's go completely deluded. Let's go completely deluded.
I'm glad I asked this last question before we finish.
Go Upamecano, Niguez, Haaland, Sancho, and just bring me all the trophies. That's all United need.
That's all United need. Just
those
4
but
playing.
the Scouts has got it. They needed a goalkeeper, they needed a midfielder, they needed a defender. They got them play. They got Fabinho, they got Alisson, they got Van Dijk. Look what happened.
Yeah.
That's that. And we need one more because we've just been mismanaged for years.
I'm not disputing the fact we need those players and we should be getting players like that and challenging. I just don't have any confidence in the board.
Oh, no. We're not suggesting that's going to happen.
I just think...
I said let's be deluded from that.
Well, you know...
It's never going to happen.
Be deluded
but come on, man. Let me live a little.
All right, you can have that.
Thank you.
Give you that. That's been the guys' opinions on this debate on about United's transfers. Have they been good enough? Have we brought enough players in? Who should we bring in? Should we buy anyone in January? This is a series of 3. This is the second one. The third one, we'll be looking at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and how he's performed this season. This has been the huge debate. That's been Adam McKola. That's been Stephen Howson. I've been Jay Motti. Don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.